I want to give 3 disclaimers before we even get into this video. One is, this is not just an American problem. This is a problem that's going to happen around the world that we're going to have to figure out, an economic problem. The second disclaimer I want to give out is these are things that are going to affect America and the world 15 to 20 years from now. 15 to 20 years from now, this is going to be a huge deal. Right now, it's not. And for the next 5 to 10 years, it's not going to be a big deal. And the last disclaimer I want to get over is we're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be okay. But we got to talk about this, guys. So this is something no one's really talking about. And I'm paying attention to it already, but it's way in the future, and way in the future stuff people don't pay attention to until it's like right in front of their face and they're like, oh shit, this is going on. So what is the #1 job title for men in America? Do you know it? Driver. Truck driver, tractor trailer truck driver, Uber driver, taxi driver, UPS driver, FedEx truck driver, USPS truck driver. 95+% of these positions will be eliminated within 20 years, guys. 95% of them. Why? Why would 95% of those positions be eliminated 20 years from now? Because there's going to be no need for a driver anymore. There's going to be no need for drivers anymore. Drivers are going to be completely worthless. 20 years from now, you think those tractor trailer trucks are going to be driven by a guy in a cowboy hat? No. Those are going to be on automated systems. We'll actually start to see some of this be rolled out within even the next 5 to 10 years. You'll start to see some of this rolled out in the next 5 to 10 years. But 20 years from now, almost all those positions will be completely eliminated. Same thing with Uber drivers. If you think a human's actually going to be driving an Uber car 20 years from now, you're crazy. That's the bottom line. You're crazy if you think a human is going to be driving an Uber car 20 years from now, a taxi car. Do you think we're still going to need a mail service 20 years from now? Heck no. We don't even need a mail service now. It still exists and it's still barely going on. We don't need any mail. You know what happens with mail? We just throw it away. Because there's never anything good in there. It's just a bunch of junk mail and credit cards and crap. And maybe some flyers. 20 years from now, there's going to be absolutely 0% need for mail. So 95+% of these jobs will be eliminated. You can say UPS drivers, FedEx drivers, people like that. With drones coming online, I can't be convinced that I'm going to actually need someone to physically walk my packages up to my front door out there. I'm not convinced that I'm actually going to need that. It could be 20 years from now. The way drone technology is advancing as fast as it is, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a drone comes and drops it off. I wouldn't be surprised if it's that way within 10 years, guys. Never mind 20 years from now. So the biggest profession for men in the United States is going to be almost non-existent 20 years from now. And within probably 25, 30 years, it'll be 0% existent. Okay, so that's not good. What is the most popular job for women in the United States? It's being a secretary and assistant of some kind. That's the #1 job for females in the United States. What's going to happen as these advanced AI type systems get more and more advanced? What happens when virtual assistants get better and better and better? They're already pretty dang good. Imagine what a virtual assistant will be 20 years from now, guys, with the way technology is going. I mean, imagine the things you can already do and talk to your phone, and if you have some of the advanced things around your house, how you can already talk to things, and it's already like a smart home, and how you can already kind of start getting your schedule and things from a phone, right? What happens when, imagine where technology is going within the next 20 years. In 20 years from now, I cannot see a need for an actual physical assistant at that point. I cannot see a need for that. Everything's going to be able to be done by some type of computing device. I don't know if it's a phone or if it's some type of hub you'll have in your home or your office where it processes all this information and it schedules you appointments. If you have a type of job where you have appointments with people and it does all that virtually, and it's all in the cloud system. I don't know how that will shake out. I really don't. I'm not going to pretend I do know that. But what I do know is these systems are going to be on a ridiculous scale. Just in the last 5 years, look at how far things have come. 20 years from now? Holy smokes. So with the whole virtual assistant type technology, I cannot see a need why you would physically need assistants, things like that, secretaries at that point. I really do not see that. Then, lastly, the number one trade overall in America is retail. Retail, that employs more people than anything, men and women. You know, whether you're a cashier, whether you're someone that stocks, the products in the store, whether you are a manager, whether you're the manager's manager, the manager's manager's manager, all those type of positions. That's the number one trade. I believe it employs 17 million people in America, something like that. So, what would you say 20 years from now there's the same amount of people working in retail, dramatically less amount of people, or dramatically more? If I had to put my money 20 years from now, I would say dramatically less people in retail. I would say 90% plus of the retailers will be extinct 20 years from now. It might even happen sooner than that. It might even happen sooner than that, guys. So some businesses will do okay because some people will just still want to have still deal with a cashier, right? Or still have someone there in the store or things like that. But I mean, we already see this technology being rolled out. Have you gone to your local supermarket lately? Your local supermarket generally already has some sort of self-checkout, right? That's already eliminated some positions. I mean, I know my local supermarkets, they all have self-checkouts. And I use those a lot of times when I go to the grocery store late at night. So the cashier type positions are slowly getting eliminated. Even my old company I used to work for, which is a company that believes in employees and all those things, about the highest level you possibly could in retail. Even when we put in the kitchens, right? The kitchens into the stores where we cook up fresh items and whatnot. We, instead of having someone there to take an order, a human, what did we put? We put a big screen. So someone that wants to place an order, they do it right there on their screen. I know McDonald's is testing things. I've been to McDonald's where they have these new systems out where you don't actually go up and tell somebody your order. You actually punch it there in the system. That's just going to get further and further technology. Now, on the Starbucks app, when I feel like a Frappuccino or something, you know what I do? Or my wife does? She places it all in her order. We don't even need to deal with a physical person. And then we go inside. The drinks are already there. They're ready for us. We just pick them up and go. And it's already paid for and everything. 20 years from now, that's going to be, 5 years from now, that's going to be a normal thing people are doing. Even 3 years from now, it's going to be a normal thing people are doing. So imagine how many jobs are going to be eliminated 20 years from now from that. Imagine. And some jobs will be created out of like the warehouse things and things like that. But we see Amazon's already using more robotics, right? They're already using more robotics in their warehouses. Robots that can carry pallets around and do all these types of things without even humans. And imagine where that technology will be 20 years from now, guys. So we're in a situation where the biggest industries out there are basically going to be either they're going to be non-existent or they're going to be much, much, much smaller than they are now. Now, does that mean doom and gloom? We're all screwed. We're going to have tens of millions of jobs lost, and it's going to screw us all. It's going to damage our economy. I would say, no, not necessarily. I would say we can get through it. Now, it doesn't mean there couldn't be hard times here and there when we're trying to figure out what the next jobs those people can go into. But one thing I do know is we've always figured it out throughout time. Job industry after job industry after job industry has been eliminated over time. I mean, imagine 150 years ago in America. Imagine walking around in America 150 years ago, which isn't that long of a time ago, guys. I mean, you think there's actually people alive right now who are over 100 years old, so their parents were around during that time. So let's think about that. Think about walking around 150 years ago in America. What were most people doing? Almost everybody was a farmer. Almost every single person was a farmer 150 years ago. That's what the thing people did back then. They were farmers. Then the Industrial Revolution came along, things like that. 50 years ago in America, 50, 60 years ago, most of the people you knew were probably factory workers, right? Try to find a factory worker nowadays. I haven't met a factory worker years ago. I met the last factory worker. I don't know anybody that works in a factory. Not one person do I know that works in a factory. A friend, family, an acquaintance, anybody. I don't know one soul that works in a factory. 50, 60 years ago, You probably knew a lot of people that worked in factories. Probably 1 out of every 2 people you knew worked in a factory. So things have always changed. Industries have come and gone in America, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Sometimes it might be a hard spot. We're still trying to figure it out, but absolutely in the end, we'll figure it out. But it needs to be addressed, and I think this stuff needs to be get a lot more attention by the media and a lot of things, so we can at least look at these in a logical way and say, okay, we're going to lose, let's say, 10 million jobs, 20 million jobs in these particular industries over the next 20 years. How do we get another 10, 20 million jobs from somewhere else? Because that's what we're going to need to do. Plus, we're going to have new people coming in the country, things like that. We're going to need to find jobs for them. So how do we do this? How do we do this? What type of new industries are expanding and things like that we can go into? So that's an important issue. The whole world's going to need to deal with this. It's not just an American issue. I'm just speaking from an American standpoint, and because I did most of my research on America, and that's always going to be my top of mind. But I can guarantee you in Europe, a lot of these trends are probably the same, and a lot of the ways things will play out will probably be the same. In Asia, same deal, guys. So something to pay attention to. Not really to scare you, but something I just want you guys to have on your mind and think about this stuff and think long term out, because not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people are thinking 15, 20 years from now. I am. Thank you guys and have a great day.